Have you ever noticed how the more you chase after something, the further it seems to drift away? Perhaps it is a goal, a dream, a relationship, or even a sense of peace that you are desperately seeking. You try, you plan, you control every step, and yet somehow the result feels just out of reach. There is a subtle tension in this constant effort, a quiet frustration that builds in the background of your life. And this tension, as paradoxical as it may seem, is exactly what keeps the door to true manifestation closed. What if the secret to achieving what you most desire is not more trying, but less? What if the universe responds not to your force, but to your freedom to allow things to unfold? In this exploration, we are going to step gently into the realm where manifestation is effortless, where desires do not need to be willed into existence with struggle and strain. It is here that the old self, the self that works tirelessly, that worries endlessly, that demands and forces, meets the possibility of transformation. Imagine for a moment, the life you are chasing is already existing, already aligned with your essence. Feel it in your imagination, not as a distant fantasy, but as a present reality that you can tune into. This is the first subtle shift, the movement from effort to receptivity, from control to trust. The world around us often celebrates hard work, perseverance, and relentless striving. These are not inherently negative, they have their place. Yet, when it comes to the deepest desires of the heart, the ones that matter most, the very act of trying too hard becomes a barrier. Trying creates a tension, a resistance that pushes the universe away rather than drawing it near. It is a curious paradox. The harder we push, the more the outcome seems to evade us. And so, the journey toward manifestation begins with a simple but profound choice: to let go of the need to force, to surrender to the natural flow of life, and to allow reality to respond to the vibration of your being rather than the intensity of your effort. This is not about laziness or passivity. It is about understanding that the universe is not a mechanism to be manipulated, but a living, responsive field. It is about learning to align your thoughts, emotions, and energy with what you wish to experience, rather than trying to manufacture it through sheer willpower. In this space, manifestation unfolds quietly, gracefully, and often in ways that are more beautiful than anything your mind could have planned. When you release the tension of trying, the universe begins to rearrange itself around your intention, like water finding the path of least resistance to its destination. Think about the times in your life when something appeared seemingly effortlessly. Perhaps it was a moment of clarity, an unexpected opportunity, or a synchronicity that left you in awe. Those moments were glimpses of the effortless flow that is always available to you. They are reminders that manifestation is not about pushing harder or controlling every detail, but about tuning into a higher frequency of alignment. When you stop wrestling with reality and start moving with it, doors open that you didn't even know existed. Life begins to feel lighter, more expansive, and filled with subtle signs guiding you toward your desires. As we begin this journey, it is important to acknowledge the common fears that arise when you consider letting go. Fear of missing out, fear of failure, fear that nothing will happen if you stop pushing. These are natural human responses. Yet, what if these fears are simply echoes of old patterns, remnants of a conditioned mind that believes effort is the only path to success? By gently observing these fears without judgment, you create space for a new understanding, that manifestation is not about struggle but about alignment, not about force but about flow. The moment you embrace this idea, the door to a completely new experience of life begins to open. In this exploration, we will uncover how to release the grip of trying, how to step into the quantum field of possibility, and how to cultivate a state of being that naturally attracts your deepest desires. We will contrast the old reality of effort and struggle with the new reality of ease and alignment, showing you that the power to create the life you imagine is not in your control, but in your presence, your awareness, and your capacity to let go. By the end of this section, you will begin to feel a subtle shift, a softening of tension, a spark of curiosity, and the first taste of freedom that comes when you realize that the universe responds to surrender as much as it does to intention. The invitation is simple: breathe, relax, and allow yourself to be guided into a state of quiet receptivity. Let go of the need to chase, to force, or to struggle. In this space of gentle openness, manifestation begins to unfold naturally, and your journey into a new reality begins, not through effort but through the art of letting go. It is a curious aspect of human nature that the very thing we think will bring us closer to our desires can often push them further away. We are taught from an early age that effort equals results, that persistence and control are the hallmarks of success. Yet, when it comes to the subtle art of manifestation, this principle does not always hold true. The harder we try, the more we cling, the more we resist the natural unfolding of life, and the more the universe seems to respond with delay, distraction, or detours. This is the paradox of trying. Effort, when misaligned, can become the very force that blocks our deepest intentions. To understand this paradox, we must first examine the energy behind our efforts. When we try too hard, we are often coming from a place of lack, from a feeling that what we want is missing, that life is incomplete without it. This creates tension, a subtle but persistent vibration of not enough. The universe does not respond to desire born from fear or scarcity in the same way it responds to desire born from trust and alignment. In other words, the more we push from a place of neediness, the more the energy of resistance builds, and the harder it becomes to attract what we seek. Consider the difference between trying and allowing. Trying is a mental, forceful action. It carries anxiety, urgency, and a sense of control. Allowing, on the other hand, is a state of being. It carries calm, patience, and trust. When we are trying, we are often focused on the gap between what is and what we want, reinforcing that separation. When we allow, we are focused on alignment, on tuning into the frequency of the reality we wish to experience, and on trusting that the universe is already in motion, ready to respond. The difference may seem subtle, but energetically, it is profound. Many people recognize the tension this creates in their own lives. They set intentions, they visualize, they plan meticulously, and yet they find themselves frustrated, exhausted, and still unfulfilled. They may even begin to doubt themselves, questioning why the universe is not listening. But the truth is not that they are failing. It is that they are approaching manifestation through the lens of control rather than resonance. Every effort made with strain or impatience carries an invisible resistance that interferes with the natural flow of creation. This is why the old approach of relentless trying often fails. It is not about the quantity of effort but the quality of energy. The universe responds to alignment, not to anxiety, to clarity, not to chaos, to presence, not to force. When we try too hard, we unknowingly bind ourselves to the very outcome we are desperate to achieve. We attach to it, we worry about it, we measure our worth against it, and this attachment creates friction. Friction, in the quantum field, is the opposite of manifestation. It slows the process, diverts energy, and keeps us trapped in the cycle of wanting without receiving. The paradox becomes even clearer when we reflect on the moments when life seems to effortlessly grant our desires. Perhaps it was a time when we stopped trying so hard, when we released the tension and allowed things to unfold naturally. Maybe it was an unexpected opportunity that appeared without planning, a synchronicity that seemed magical, or a solution that revealed itself when we simply stopped chasing it. These moments are proof that manifestation does not require force. It requires alignment. They remind us that the universe is responsive, but it responds to energy, not effort. Understanding this paradox is the first step in transforming the way we approach manifestation. It requires honesty with ourselves, a willingness to observe our patterns of pushing, controlling, and over-efforting. It requires noticing when we are operating from a place of fear, impatience, or scarcity, and gently shifting toward a place of trust, patience, and abundance. The shift is not always easy. The mind, conditioned to equate effort with success, may resist at first. Yet, every small moment of surrender, every pause to breathe and release, strengthens the ability to operate from alignment rather than struggle. It is also important to recognize that letting go of trying does not mean giving up on our goals or desires. On the contrary, it is the act of holding the vision lightly while remaining fully present and receptive. It is the understanding that our deepest intentions are already in motion in the quantum field and that our role is not to force them into existence, but to allow them to manifest through our alignment with them. This subtle but powerful distinction transforms the entire experience of creation, turning frustration into ease and anxiety into curiosity. Ultimately, the paradox of trying teaches us a profound lesson about the nature of reality itself. It reveals that the path to manifestation is not linear or mechanical. It is not about working harder or controlling every detail. It is about cultivating awareness of our own energy, releasing resistance, and learning to move with the flow of life. It is about trusting that when we stop grasping, when we stop trying to force outcomes, the universe can respond to us with grace, synchronicity, and abundance. In this way, we see that the old reality of effort and struggle is simply a training ground for the new reality of alignment and ease. By observing the paradox, by noticing when trying becomes counterproductive, we take the first conscious steps toward a life where desires are not forced but naturally drawn to us. We begin to recognize that manifestation is less about action and more about presence, less about pushing and more about allowing, less about control and more about trust. And in this realization, the door to a transformed reality begins to open, inviting us to step into the effortless art of quantum creation. The moment we begin to understand the paradox of trying, the natural next step is learning how to surrender, to allow life to flow rather than attempting to force it. Surrendering is not a single act, nor is it a passive state. It is a practice, a gentle discipline of the mind and heart, where we release the grip of control and trust that reality is unfolding in alignment with our highest good. This is where manifestation begins to feel effortless, where desires no longer feel like distant dreams but like the natural rhythm of our own being. Surrendering starts with awareness. It is about noticing where in our lives we are gripping, clinging, or forcing outcomes. Perhaps it is a career goal that we obsess over, a relationship that we try to mold, or a personal aspiration that we push with all our energy. Whatever form it takes, the first step is simply recognizing the tension. Awareness is the gateway because we cannot release what we cannot see. By observing our need to control, we create a subtle but powerful space in which the energy of allowing can enter. Once awareness is established, the next layer is trust. Trust in the universe, trust in the unseen forces of creation, trust in our own inner guidance. This trust is not blind, it is cultivated through experience, reflection, and a gentle understanding that the universe is not random but responsive. When we trust, we begin to let go of the need for immediate results, understanding that timing and alignment are far more important than speed or force. We start to see life not as a series of obstacles to overcome, but as a field of opportunities to co-create from a place of presence. Visualization becomes a powerful tool in this practice of surrender. But unlike the traditional approach where visualization is used as a tool for controlling outcomes, here it is used as a method of tuning into the frequency of what we desire. We imagine the reality we wish to experience, not as a distant goal to achieve, but as a present state to align with. Every thought, feeling, and sensation in this visualization is a vibrational signature that attracts similar energy from the universe. By visualizing with feeling rather than force, we bridge the gap between our current state and the reality we wish to inhabit. Equally important is the cultivation of emotional alignment. Our emotions act as a compass, guiding us toward or away from the flow of manifestation. When we operate from fear, doubt, or impatience, our energy becomes constricted, blocking the natural unfolding of our desires. When we cultivate feelings of joy, gratitude, curiosity, and curiosity-filled anticipation, we create a resonance that matches the reality we wish to experience. Emotional alignment is the bridge between intention and manifestation, and it is nourished through mindfulness, reflection, and intentional practice. Surrendering also involves letting go of attachment to outcomes. Attachment is subtle yet powerful. It whispers to us, "I need this to happen now in this way or it will not be enough." It binds us to a specific picture of reality and blocks the creative possibilities of the quantum field. By releasing attachment, we allow life to surprise us, to deliver outcomes that may exceed our expectations, and to present experiences in ways we could not have imagined. The act of detachment is liberating. It frees the mind from struggle and opens the heart to possibility. Daily practices can support this state of surrender. Meditation, for example, quiets the mind, allowing the natural flow of energy to emerge. Journaling helps us clarify intentions and release mental clutter. Breathing exercises anchor us in the present moment, dissolving tension and reinforcing trust. These practices are not about adding effort but about creating a fertile inner environment where alignment can naturally take root. Each act of presence, each moment of mindful awareness, is a subtle but powerful affirmation that we are no longer pushing but allowing. An essential aspect of surrender is patience. In a world that glorifies speed and instant results, waiting can feel uncomfortable. Yet patience is not passive waiting, it is active trust. It is understanding that every detail of the universe's orchestration is unfolding with perfect timing. By cultivating patience, we release resistance that comes from forcing outcomes, and we make space for unexpected blessings to enter our lives. Often, what arrives when we wait with trust surpasses anything we could have imagined through effort alone. Surrendering to the flow also means embracing uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable, and attempts to control every variable create tension and frustration. By leaning into uncertainty rather than resisting it, we cultivate flexibility and adaptability. We learn to dance with the rhythms of the universe rather than march against them. This does not mean giving up discernment or conscious choice. It means making decisions from a place of alignment rather than fear, from trust rather than compulsion. The freedom found in this embrace of uncertainty is profound. Another critical element of this practice is recognizing the signs and synchronicities that arise along the way. When we are surrendered and aligned, life begins to communicate with us in subtle ways. A repeated number, a chance encounter, a sudden insight. These are not coincidences. They are the universe nudging us, guiding us toward alignment, and affirming that we are on the right path. By noticing and responding to these signs, we reinforce our connection to the flow, further deepening our ability to manifest effortlessly. Ultimately, surrendering is about shifting identity. It is about moving from the old self, defined by control, worry, and striving, to the new self, defined by trust, alignment, and ease. Every step of release, every moment of allowing, strengthens this new identity. Manifestation is no longer a goal to chase, but a natural byproduct of being, the effortless unfolding of life as we align with our highest potential. This transformation is not instantaneous, nor is it linear. It is a gentle, unfolding process, like water finding its path, like a seed growing quietly beneath the soil until it reaches the light. In this state of surrender, the extraordinary becomes ordinary. Opportunities, insights, and synchronicities flow to us effortlessly. We no longer need to control every outcome or measure our worth against results. Instead, we learn to inhabit the reality we desire with presence and joy, knowing that the universe is already in motion, already supporting us, and already responding to the frequency of our being. Surrender is not giving up. It is stepping into alignment, becoming a magnet for our desires, and allowing the universe to co-create with us in the most exquisite and effortless ways. This is the heart of quantum manifestation, the delicate dance between intention and allowance, desire and trust, action and stillness. When we surrender fully, we move from the friction of trying to the effortless flow of creation. We become attuned to the rhythm of life, the subtle currents of energy, and the infinite possibilities that exist in every moment. Once we begin to surrender and align with the flow of life, the next step is learning how to live consistently within the quantum field, the expansive space where possibility exists beyond the constraints of linear time and rigid expectation. Living in this field requires a subtle shift in perception, a movement away from the familiar patterns of control and toward a consciousness that is both open and discerning. It is a state where manifestation is not a sporadic occurrence but an ongoing experience, a natural byproduct of presence, awareness, and energetic alignment. At the heart of living in the quantum field is the understanding that our thoughts, emotions, and energy are not isolated. They ripple outward, influencing the field around us and drawing corresponding experiences into our lives. This is why the habits we cultivate, the attention we give to our inner state, and the vibrational tone we maintain all become central to the manifestation process. Every moment of doubt, fear, or frustration subtly shifts our energy away from alignment, while every moment of clarity, joy, and trust strengthens it. The quantum field is responsive, and our role is to remain attuned to it, consciously navigating life from a place of coherence rather than resistance. Daily life becomes the laboratory for this practice. In ordinary moments, commuting, working, interacting with others, we are continually sending energetic signals. By becoming mindful of these signals, we can consciously choose to operate from alignment rather than unconscious reaction. Small acts of awareness, such as noticing tension in the body, pausing before reacting, or redirecting focus toward gratitude, reinforce our presence in the field. Over time, these seemingly minor adjustments compound, creating a state of resonance where opportunities, ideas, and synchronicities naturally flow toward us. Emotional awareness is a cornerstone of maintaining alignment. Emotions are the barometer of our energetic state, signaling whether we are in harmony with our desires or entangled in resistance. Fear, doubt, and impatience constrict energy, narrowing the field of possibility, whereas feelings of joy, curiosity, love, and appreciation expand it. By prioritizing emotional alignment, we not only enhance the quality of our daily experience but also strengthen our capacity to co-create within the quantum field. This does not mean ignoring challenges or difficult emotions. Rather, it is the practice of observing, acknowledging, and consciously shifting toward resonance whenever possible. Living in the quantum field also involves cultivating a sense of playfulness and curiosity. The field is not a rigid system to be mastered but a dynamic space of infinite potential. When we approach life with lightness, openness, and a willingness to experiment, we invite experiences that exceed our expectations. Playfulness allows us to release attachment to specific outcomes, to delight in the journey itself, and to remain receptive to the subtle guidance and synchronistic opportunities that the field continually offers. The more we embrace this attitude, the more effortless the flow becomes. Another key aspect is maintaining clarity of intention. While surrender and alignment are essential, they do not negate the need for conscious direction. Living in the quantum field requires a delicate balance between allowing and intentional focus. We hold our desires lightly as if planting seeds in fertile soil, while simultaneously trusting the universe to orchestrate their growth in the perfect way and timing. Clarity of intention provides structure to our alignment without forcing outcomes, allowing manifestation to occur naturally while ensuring we remain in conscious partnership with the creative field. Consistency is equally vital. Alignment is not a one-time achievement, it is a continuous practice. We live within cycles of clarity and distraction, trust and doubt, ease and tension. By gently returning to awareness, reconnecting with our intentions and cultivating presence each day, we reinforce our ability to remain in the field. Like tending a garden, consistent attention nurtures growth and prevents old patterns of resistance from taking root. The more we practice, the more the quantum field becomes a familiar, dependable space where manifestation flows effortlessly. It is also important to recognize and respond to the subtle guidance that arises within the field. Life begins to communicate with us through intuition, nudges, and synchronicities. Perhaps a thought arises spontaneously, pointing toward a new opportunity, or a chance encounter delivers insight just when it is needed. These signals are the universe's way of confirming alignment, of providing direction without forcing outcomes. By noticing and following these cues, we participate consciously in co-creation, navigating life with awareness rather than compulsion. Living in the quantum field ultimately requires a shift in identity. The old self, defined by striving, control, and resistance, gradually gives way to the new self, one who trusts, flows, and co-creates effortlessly. This transformation is not about perfection but about embodying a state of being that is consistent with our desires and highest potential. The more we inhabit this identity, the more natural it becomes to attract experiences, relationships, and opportunities that reflect our alignment. Over time, the quantum field ceases to feel abstract or mystical. It becomes the lived reality of our everyday existence. This practice also invites us to reframe challenges as opportunities. Situations that once caused frustration or fear now become signals for realignment, lessons that guide us back to flow. Rather than resisting life's twists and turns, we learn to move with them, using each moment as a chance to deepen presence, refine intention, and strengthen trust. In this way, living in the quantum field is not about escaping reality, it is about engaging with it from a higher, more conscious perspective, where every experience contributes to the ongoing creation of our desired reality. Ultimately, living in the quantum field is the art of sustained alignment. As we reach the close of this exploration, it becomes clear that manifestation is not a matter of effort, timing, or even circumstance, it is a reflection of your state of being. The journey we have walked together has shown that the old self, trapped in struggle, force, and relentless striving, experiences life as a series of obstacles and delays. In contrast, the new self, aligned and surrendered, moves effortlessly through reality, attracting experiences and opportunities with grace rather than coercion. The difference lies not in what is done but in how it is done, not in the actions themselves but in the energy, awareness, and trust behind them. Letting go of trying is not a passive resignation. It is an active engagement with the principles of alignment. By releasing attachment to outcomes, embracing uncertainty, and cultivating trust, you create space for the universe to respond to your desires in ways that are often more expansive and unexpected than anything you could have imagined. Every moment of surrender, every breath of awareness, every choice to align emotionally and energetically reinforces your connection to the quantum field, strengthening the natural flow of manifestation in your life. This is the essence of effortless creation. It is not manufactured, it is allowed. Reflection is an essential part of this practice. Take time to look back on your own experiences, moments when life unfolded with ease, when synchronicities appeared, when opportunities arrived without force. Recognize that these were glimpses of the natural flow that is always available, moments when you were already aligned, even if only fleetingly. By observing these experiences, you begin to understand that manifestation is not about control but about resonance, and that your role is to cultivate the state of being that matches your deepest desires. It is equally important to acknowledge that challenges and setbacks are not signs of failure but invitations to return to alignment. Life will always present moments that test our patience, focus, and trust. These are opportunities to practice surrender, to release resistance, and to reaffirm our connection to the quantum flow. By reframing obstacles in this way, you shift your perspective from struggle to growth, from frustration to understanding, and from doubt to curiosity. Each challenge becomes a teacher, guiding you deeper into the art of effortless manifestation. As you continue this journey, Remember that living in alignment is a continuous practice. It is not a destination to reach but a state to inhabit, moment by moment. Every thought, feeling, and action contributes to the vibrational signature you project into the universe. By consciously cultivating emotional coherence, clarity of intention, and presence, you maintain your connection to the field of infinite possibility. Over time, the new self, the self that embodies trust, surrender, and alignment, becomes the dominant state of being, and manifestation becomes an ongoing, effortless rhythm in your life. Finally, know that the path of quantum manifestation is deeply personal, yet universal. Every individual has access to this infinite field of potential.